Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well and staying safe during these crazy times. Today I'm going to show you how to create an Instagram web scraper for photos using Python and Selenium. Before we, get started into the main programming, I'm going to let you know that my IDE of choice is Microsoft Visual Studio Code. So if you want to use Visual Studio Code, just for the sake of following along, you can. They support different operating systems, so Mac, Windows, Linux, it's all here. All I do is go to their website and download and install it. We will also be needing the Chrome web driver. So under here, if you click on Chrome, for what we're using, it's not going to be 84, it's actually going to be 83. So all you do is you navigate to Google Chrome WebDriver, search it on your search engine, then click on, again, 83 at the time of recording, and you click on Chrome driver Win32zip, and you're going to save the file. You can navigate to your desktop or wherever your project is located. I have mine on my desktop in a folder called projects, and then I'm just going to save it here. So then if you open it up, see how it saves here, so you just extract it, and then you're going to put it inside of the folder for the name of your project. So in my case, my project's name is Instascrappy. And also for this reason, if I go to Visual Studio and open it up, so see how it, if you go to File and then Open Folder, I already had mine open because I was testing beforehand, but if you just select, go to wherever it's located. So for me, it's on my desktop, projects, and then inside of it I have Instascrappy, so select folder, and yes, so this is what is going to be needed for creating the Python file. And now, see, I have my projects here in my Instascrappy, and in my Instascrappy I have my driver. So I'm on my Instascrappy, I'm going to create a new file called instascrappy.py. And now this is the Python file which we are going to be using to program our web scraper with. But before we do anything of this, I also need to have some dependencies installed. So if you go to terminal and go to new terminal, what you're going to want to do is pip install, and then the first one is going to be urllib. And just press enter. And I already have my pip install urllib, maybe it's 3. It might be 3. Yeah. So it's pip install, then urllib3, and that's going to be used for retrieving the photos. Then you want to do pip install Selenium, and this is going to be the WebDriver that allows us to create a mimic a actual web browser like Chrome in my case. Then what you want to do is pip install, the next one is BeautifulSoup, which is this BS4. Because I've installed, it's gonna not install it. And then what you want to do is pip install regex, and then you want to pip install pynput, and that is going to allow us to get the follower and following information. Again, because I've installed, it's not going to look the same for me as it is for you unless you have these packages installed. Anyways, to begin, I'm going to create a function called main, and then after this, I'm going to have, I think it's if, it's underscore main, then I'm going to call my function main. So in my main function, right here, I'm going to begin by connecting my driver to my program. So as you can see, the Chrome driver.exe is in my folder here. It doesn't have to be in the same one, but for consistency and for saving of time, I just put it in here. But anyways, you can put it wherever. So I'm going to have a variable called driver path, all caps. You can make this whatever you want, path, driver, whatever suits your needs, but I'm going to make my driver path set equal to, and then I'm going to put it where the relative path is. Now you can right click and you can say copy relative path and paste it, and then you can just do that. I do put the 2 dots because this goes to the parent directory, so it's going to actually, I think I don't need the insert scrappy, all I need is that. So it goes to the parent directory and it goes to chromedriver.exe and finds it. That way you know where Chrome driver is. And then I'm going to have a variable set equal to my driver itself. So I'm going to say wd for me. It's going to say for web driver. I'm going to say that's equal to web driver dot Chrome. I'm going to say executable path, executable underscore path is equal to driver path. And I completely forgot because I didn't import any of my dependencies. Now this is going to work. So let me just do this now. Import dependencies or libraries. And I'm going to say import URL lib, import URL lib3. Then I'm going to say from Selenium, import the WebDriver. And then I'm going to say from Selenium, import, from Selenium WebDriver dot common dot keys. I'm going to import keys. Then I'm going to import time. And then I'm going to import from Selenium, import time, import, after that I'm going to do bs4, from bs4, I'm going to import BeautifulSoup as, and then you can say BS, you can say BeautifulSoup, whatever you want. I'm just going to put BS though. And then I'm going to import the OS because I want to make directories for each of my Instagram accounts that I take the photos from. I'm also going to import getPass for privacy reasons. You can import RE for regex. You don't really need it, but I like to have regex in case I want to do some data analysis or some stripping of the strings. And last thing that you want to import is from pynput dot keyboard. You want to import the key and the controller. This is going to be used for gathering the follower and following information of the accounts. Yes. So then, now that I have my main, my WebDriver connects, let us see if everything works. So from here, I'm going to say wd.get. Get is the function which opens up a window for the URL, and in here I'm going to say https://www.instagram.com/accounts/login, because we're going to have to log it in /, so because we're going to have to log into our Instagram account in order to get the information. So right now, if you still have your terminal opened, you can probably close this out, you don't need it. So if you have terminal opened, what you want to do is type ls, and if you have your Insta Scrappy folder here, then what you want to do is say cd, and then type in your folder. In my case it's Insta Scrappy, so it's Insta Scrappy that'll change to the directory. CD stands for change directory, and Scrappy is the folder that I'm trying to change into, or the directory I'm trying to change into. So you press LS, again, it'll give you a list, and see I have Chrome driver and insert Scrappy. It's what I have here. It's a Scrappy, Chrome driver, insert Scrappy.py. So what I want to do is do Python, because the interpreter needs to know what language I'm using, and then I'll say insta scrappy scrappy.py. So this is going to initiate the Python script that we have, and it's going to open up. Yes, that is my mistake. I should just put 1 dot, not 2. So my driver path is incorrect, that's why it's saying you can't find it. So now it found it, it opens up, it'll go to Instagram, and it'll close immediately. And that's because once VS Code is done with this, you can, once VS Code is done, it'll go, hey, I am done, I don't need to be opened anymore, and it'll close it. So to prevent that from occurring, we can create a while loop. So while true, we can say this will be the beginning for getting the Instagram account and everything. So we'll say while true, say see here, say test is equal to string input string insert Instagram. Say please type Instagram account for me to find, or quit to end program, colon space, and then I'll say if, yeah, I'm going to change this name, so I'll just call this Instagram account. If Instagram account is equal to quit, then we'll say return false. Otherwise, and then this will be code for later on. Insert functions. So now that we have our main here, else actually for the time being, let's say return. That way, if it doesn't do that. So this works. Now then, first what we have to do is get our Instagram login. So here it is, Instagram login, and this is going to have us be able to access the actual Instagram, because when you go to Instagram.com, it gives you a login information. Otherwise, it will not let you scrape information. So we're going to say define Instagram login, and then we're going to have to pass it WD as a parameter. So in here, I'm going to say user is equal to, and before I continue, let me actually go to Instagram.com. So actually, let me just copy and paste where we're going. It doesn't really matter, but so on here, if you open up your inspector element, and then you click on the account information right here to get the login, you see it says input class is equal to this, and then the name is equal to username. So what we're trying to do is have the WebDriver find this class for username and this class for password, because if you look on here, it'll say name is equal to password. So what we want to do is have the WebDriver find the username and password fields, as well as the login button to click, so we can input our username, account, password, and then submit that information so Instagram can log us in. So for this, I'm going to say user is equal to wd.find underscore element underscore by underscore name. And I'm going to say on here, it's going to be, I just accidentally started that, so let me stop that. Name, and it's going to be equal to username. And the same thing, I'm going to have password is equal to wd.find element by name, and this time it's going to be password. Once this is done, I'm going to, or here, let me put this in, find element username and password for inputting login info. So once we do that, we're going to have to, once we find them, in case Instagram may have stuff in there, we're going to clear the fields. So when we do that, we're going to do user.clear and password.clear as well. So that clears the fields of any information. Then from here, we're going to ask user for login information. Ask user for login information. So then I'm going to say, call this Instagram underscore username is equal to, and get pass. You don't need to do this. You can do, as I said, as I did earlier, just input string and then say, hey, set this variable equal to this. But because I'm recording this online, I do not want people to know my information, so I'm just going to say get pass. I'm going to say please enter your Instagram user account. And then I'm going to say Instagram, I'm going to say user dot send underscore keys to Instagram username. And then I'm going to have my Instagram password underscore password equal to get pass, and then I'm going to have it say please enter your Instagram password. And then from here I'm going to say password dot send underscore keys. I'm going to say Instagram password. So what this is doing, it's going to take our information that we submitted and it's going to send it into these fields, so phone number, username, email, whatever, and password. And the same thing for the password, it's going to submit for the password. Then once that's done, what we're going to do is put a timer. That way the WebDriver, when we access it, can have enough time to process the information and submit it, because sometimes when you do this, it's going to do it quite fast, so the WebDriver may not catch it and therefore the whole program will stop working. So to prevent that, we're going to put some time.sleeps in the program in general just to help maintain that it functions without any issues. So after this, if you go back to the Instagram website, you click on the login button using the inspector, you can see that the class is here, the button is here, the class is like this, and you have type.submit, type submit. So what we're going to do next is have the WebDriver find this this HTML tag and have it find the attribute of the tag. So whenever we type in our data, see how it is now active. So we're going to have it say once the information has been submitted into these fields, we're going to say login. In order to accomplish this, you have to use the like we did previously. It's going to be wd.find underscore element, but instead of by name, it's going to be by xpath. And then in here, we're going to have a two forward slashes. We're we're going to say button, because again, it's the button that we want to find. And then inside of the button, we're going to put brackets, because this is how the WebDriver knows to find, okay, so I'm looking for an HTML tag. Inside the tag, I forget what this is called, the tag, element, whatever it's called. We're trying to find this HTML item. Then from this item, we're trying to find an attribute of the item. So we're going to say at, and then it's going to say type equal to, then we're going to put 2 single quotes, and say submit. Because again, it's a button, the type is submit, so we're trying to find the attribute of the type, the HTML. So once we find that, at the very end, after the end parentheses, we're going to put .click, because this is going to let the WebDriver know, hey, I found what I want, this is what I want, and then the .click is going to mimic a mouse click. So once the information is in and the button becomes available, it's going to click on the button to give us what we want. So then, once this is done, I'm going to again put a time.sleep of 5 seconds, because once this submits, we want to have it go to the main login screen. And the login screen is going to take a couple seconds, depending upon your internet speed, and depending upon what's cached or not, so on and so forth. So then, once that is done, go to our personal login information, our own login account first. So it's going to be wd.get, and to start off, we're going to go to our home pages. So https://www.instagram.com/, then we're going to put a plus, and then we're going to get our username here. So we're going to say Instagram username, then we're going to do plus, then it's going to be quotes, and then it's going to be a /. You probably don't need this. I'm sure Instagram by default will correct this for its needs. Then we'll put in a time.sleep of another 5 seconds, and then you can just return. You don't really need to do this, but yeah. So this is the login function. So if we call this in the main right here, so insert functions, so if I do this, then actually I should put this outside of this. So I'm actually going to do that, and then I'm going to have the login, and then I'll put the functions, I'll just do return. Yeah. So anyways, so once we get the driver path, it's going to initiate the login, and then from here we're going to get the username, password, find element, submit, and then we're going to our home page, and then it should work without any issues. So again, I'm going to say you can either press the up arrow on your keyboard, but if that doesn't work for a reason, type Python. You can do insta, and then if you press the tab, sometimes it will automatically correct for you, but in case for whatever reason your tab doesn't work, you can say Python insta scrappy.py or whatever you called your file. So Python, do this, it'll open up, it's going to load, name is equal to username. Oh, you know what, it's probably because I didn't give enough time to find it. So let me put a, yeah, that's why. It's because I didn't put enough time to find it. Okay. There you go. Okay, one more time. Now then. It loads. That's why you have to put the times, otherwise it's not going to work. So please enter your account name. So here, we'll say Billy Bob George, and the password is lolcat2509. Then it's going to wait. Let's press the login button, but because there's no login, it's not going to work. Then it's going to default back to our please enter an Instagram account. See, please insert an Instagram account, or find access, and then if you say quit, it quits. So now that we know that works, the function is good. Now it's time to go into the main beef and beans and all that other good stuff for this to work. So after we do our login, what we want to do is create a directory for being able to store all of our Instagram account folders and photos inside of, because we want to separate the Instagram account names. We don't want to have one folder with 5 quintillion photos, as it'd take up way too much space and it's very disorganized, especially if you want to do some sort of facial recognition program or deep learning. So what you want to do is this instead. So you want to create one folder for multiple folders. So for multiple folders, yes, to store all the data into, to make it nice and clean. So I'm going to say define, and in here I'm going to say make main directory, and then I'm going to pass it nothing, actually directory, pass it directory, because we want to pass it the directory name that we want to call for to hold all of the photos in. I'm going to say main directory, the variable directory, is equal to the passed in parameter directory, and then from here I'm going to say if not os.path.isdir, meaning if this directory is not the directory that we're currently operating out of, and then I'm going to pass in my main directory as the parameter. I am going to say os.makedir, mkdir, and then I'm going to call it what I'm going to call my personal folder, and that is Instagram directory, Instagram accounts. And then I'm going to say os.changedir, and then I'm going to say Instagram accounts. Now in hindsight, actually what I can do is, instead of doing this, I can just say main account directory is equal to, and then I'll put input string quote please please type a name to store your Instagram accounts into, and then I'll just pass this into the main directory. So I'll just say make main, and I'll get rid of this. So I'm going to change the directory to the main directory, change directory to main directory, and I'll say make main directory, make main directory, and I'll pass in the main account directory. Once you make the main directory, it's going to create it and put it inside of our Instastrappy right here. So if we run this, by the way, just press the up arrow to run it and press enter. So if we run this, it's going to ask me for my user. Please enter your user account information. So say hello cat59. I'll say code, and I'll say random gibberish. I'll click on the login button after a couple of seconds and say, hey, this doesn't work. Then it's going to take it to redirect you to what we typed in, and it's going to say, please type a name to store your Instagram accounts into for the folder. And so I'm going to say Instagram accounts, and then it's going to ask you So yes, so before I continue, see how it says Instagram accounts right here? It's changed directly to this now, so I created an Instagram folder to type it in. And so if I say, well, code 70, I'm just going to type quit for now, actually. And there, it quits the program. So, now that we have our directory done, what we want to do now is actually the heart of everything for our user accounts. So what we're going to do is say locating, and we're going to create a function that will locate as well as get all the photos and everything. There'll be one function that will call multiple functions. So they're locating and storing info for Instagram account. And this function, I'm going to say define get Instagram account, and then I'm going to pass it two parameters. The first is going to be the Instagram username. This really doesn't have to be what you pass in here because this is just a parameter. You can call it Billy, Bob, George, Henry, Frank, Ted, Susie, Nancy, whatever you want to say. It's just going to be the username. So I'll just say Instagram username, and then I have to pass WD because again I'm going to put it inside of here, and WD is what we use for the WebDriver. So once we pass in the username, what we want to do is first give time for the login information to access the website without having any issues or bottlenecks. So then from here, what we're going to do is say, once we have the Instagram account, we're going to sleep, and then we're going to say Instagram holder is equal to Instagram username, because we want to take the information here and pass it as a variable just so that things become less confusing later on. And then once we have this variable, we're going to say wd.get, and we're going to put the single quotes and say https :// do www.instagram.com / and do plus Instagram holder. You don't really need this if you don't want to. For the sake of programming, my style of programming, I enjoy doing it, but you can do that which you would like to do. So after we get that, we're going to have a function for scraping photos, scraping followers, following, scraping followers. So first I'm going to do the scrapping of photos and of photos. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to take this information, the function, and I'm going to put it in here. So I'm going to say get Instagram account, pass it in the Instagram account variable here. And then I'm going to pass it in WD because, again, we need WD to get the information. So now that I have my Instagram holder and everything, I now want to begin with the logging in and getting the photos. Now to start off, here I'll actually go and log into my account. Of course, this will all be blacked out so you all can't see it. Yeah. So let's say we'll go to. Okay, so say I just Kim Kardashian. Sure, why not? So then inspect element, and if you go here, so what we want to do is actually get the photo. We want to figure out how to get the photos and the posts and everything, right? So we need to inspect the element, and if you click on the inspector icon and go to click on any photo, you'll see that it has this P tag here for href. Most Instagram web scrapers that I found, they just try to scrape this and then it doesn't work. So what you actually have to do is go down to where the image is actually stored. In this case, it's in the image tag, and the class is ffvad. That's the class name. So what we're going to try and do is create a function that'll do the infinite scroll until it hits the very bottom, and then we're going to take all of the ffvads that it finds along the way and store it into an array that will then be downloaded and stored on our computer or device, whatever you're using. So for this, I'm going to say for the follower scraping, it's going to be definition define. I'm going to call this scrape Instagram account images. I'm going to pass it the Instagram holder. Of course, you can call this parameter anything, but I like to stay consistent. And I'm going to do WD because, again, I have to pass the WebDriver into it. Anyways, so this is going to be code that I will, again, put in the description to give citing of the sources. So this is going to be length of page. It's going to be equal to wd.execute script, execute underscore script. And then in here, I'm going to say window.scroll to 0, space document dot body dot scroll height, camel case because this is JavaScript. Then I'm going to put it in parentheses as semicolon and say var space length of page, and then I'm going to say is equal to document dot body dot scroll height, camel case, and I'm going to say semicolon, and I'm going to say return then length of page. So what this is doing, it's capitalized length of page. So what this is doing, it's going to scroll from the top until it hits a breaking point, and then it's going to pause. Then it's going to keep on going and going and going until it hits the bottom. And you'll see in the next lines of code what it's actually doing. So in your I'm going to say match is equal to false. Then I'm going to put in a variable here, x is equal to 100. This is going to help when capturing photos, because again, the web scrapers that I found, all of them would only do the 30 photos and that's it. They didn't have any means to actually get more than 30, just be 30 photos and then they'd be running each other until the end of the page hit. So what I found was creating this variable helps a lot, and following the code that I found online seemed to be while match is equal to false, so while it's equal to false, then in here I'm going to put the directory of Instagram account. So I'm going to say directory is equal to Instagram holder. Then I'm going to say the last count, capitalized, is equal to the length of page. Okay, I'm going to put a time.sleep of 30 seconds. This is for the infinite scroll, so it doesn't take, so it can gather all of the images without pushing through the entire web page. And then here I'm going to put Instagram accounts. I'll just put Instagram URLs is equal to an empty array, because we're going to take all of the elements that we found in here and store the sources into an array. So I'm going to say, in this case, Instagram capture is equal to wd.find underscore elements underscore by underscore xpath. And again, we want to find the image class, the image tag with the class attribute. In this case, class is equal to ffvad, all caps. So I'm going to say // img, open close bracket, then inside the brackets I'm going to say at class is equal to single quote, 2 single quotes, because I used 2 double quotes out here, so 2 single quotes inside. I'm going to say capital F, capital B, capital A, capital D. But this may change because Instagram likes to, I guess, has some sort of mathematical algorithm. So whatever this class name is, you just want to make sure that you have this class listed for this to be used. That is crucial for capturing the photos. Then for this, I'm going to say for I in Instagram capture, we're going to iterate through this. I'm going to say Instagram URLs dot append, and then I'm going to say I dot get attribute, get underscore attribute, and then in here I'm put the in 2 single quotes as RC, because the source is the link to where the photo is stored. So if I right click on here and I say open link in new tab, this is the photo which is going to be captured and stored for us to download. But the source, the SRC, this is what we have to store into the array in order to accomplish that. So we have the source. Now what we want to do, here I'll just put a quote here. Once that's done, I'm going to now make a directory for all of the Instagram accounts that we're accessing. So it's going to be if not os.path.isdir, like before. I'm going to pass in the directory. Again, you don't really need to have any of this directory as equal Instagram holder. You can just have Instagram holder here, but I like to, it's just how I enjoy programming. Yes, so then I'm going to say os.makedir, passing in directory. So this is going to say if the directory does not exist, then I'm going to make the directory of that account. Create directory for Instagram account, if I can spell properly. Now after this, what we are wanting to do is iterate through all the elements that we found in the Instagram URLs, and then we're going to pull from that the images to download and store on in the folder. So I'm going to say for I, comma, link in enumerate, say Instagram URLs. What I'm going to do is have a path equal to os.path.join, and inside of here I'm going to pass in the Instagram holder name and put a comma, and I'm going to put in quotes, then curly braces, :06 dot JPEG. So this is going to dot format, and then put I plus X. So what this is going to do, it's going to say, hey, I'm going to create a path and have this be a part of my folder. And then it's going to create a photo with the photos of 6 digits, so 0000000.jpg, and then the format is going to be I plus X, because again, most Instagram web scrapers I have found that they would only do 30 photos and that's it, they won't do any more. So this variable right here, X, I'll have iterate every time the function is called, the for loop is called. That way, each photo will be able to be downloaded and installed on the drive. So, continuing on, once this is done, I'm going to say try. I have to do a try catch block in case for whatever reason it doesn't work. So try URL lib dot request dot URL retrieve link comma path. So I'm just saying try and see if you can put these photos inside this path using the link provided. And then it's going to be accept, and we'll just have a print unable to download and place inside a folder. And then while that is going on, at the end I'm going to iterate. So x plus equals 100, 100. So this is going to iterate x to keep things going. Then I'm going to say length of page is equal to wd dot execute script, and then it's the same code as before. You can copy this code right here, you can copy paste if you want, but for me I'm just going to say window dot scroll to open parentheses, close parentheses, then put 0, comma space document dot body dot scroll height, and then I'm going to put a semicolon var space len of page, make sure it's camel case, is equal to document dot body dot scroll height, semicolon, return space len capital OF capital PAG. Then, so this is going to keep on scrolling until it hits the bottom, and then once it does hit the bottom, I'm going to say if the last count is equal to length of page, match is equal to true. So this is going to be the final thing. So it says, hey, if you're at the bottom of the page and you don't need anything else, then I am done doing my deed and I can return. So what I'm going to do is go to my get Instagram account. So here's my get Instagram account right here. So under my scraping of photos, I'm going to pass in scrape Instagram images. I'm going to pass in the Instagram holder and then WD, because again I need to have the WebDriver available. So if we run this, there should hopefully not be any errors, and again this is bugging out, I do not know why. So if I press ls, okay, cd insta scrap b, ls, and do python insta scrappy.py. So stop this because I need to actually get rid of this. So if I'm just going to comment this out, actually I'm just going to get rid of this because I don't need that. So once that's done, it's going to return, and I'm going to yeah, so that was my mistake. So hopefully now it's going to be python insta scrappy.py. Okay. Now let's try this again. It should take me to, it should ask me for my encounter flow. Yeah. So in this case, I'm going to go to actually here, let me make this full screen real quick. Elon Musk, Elon R. Musk with 2 Ks. So I type in Elon R. Musk with 2 Ks, press enter. Oh, whoops, that was my mistake. Whatever. So this is my Instagram account, right? So I'm going to say Elon R. Musk. So as you can see, I have a account named Elon R. Musk. So in here, I'm going to store my folders into, my folder and images into. So it's going to Elon R. Musk. I put a sleep here, so then it's going to go to Elon R. Musk web profile, and then from here it's going to go through and scrape all of the photos that are on his account. And if you click on the folder here, it should be catching the photos. So here's the folder being created, and inside we have all of the photos which we are storing onto the computer. Goes from 0 to 35, so that's 36 photos it stores. And welcome back. As you can see, all of the photos were downloaded. Yes, there's one thing wrong with this program. When I first made this, it did not make all these duplicates, but for some reason when I switched from my Jupyter Notebook over to my Visual Code, something in my, now that we have all of our photos, that's basically it for the Instagram scraper. You can stop now if you don't want to continue. But what I also found when making this was I could also get the following information and the followers information, so I can just quit this. And so for that, I'm going to first create a function out, not here. Let's see here. I'm going to put it right here. Actually, I'll put it underneath the Instagram account images. So I'll say actions for getting follower. I'm going to call this define, and in this I'm going to say Instagram actions, and I'm going to say get Instagram actions, and in here I'm going to pass actions and WD because I need the WebDriver, and I'm also going to pass in the forgive me, not actions, it's going to be Instagram holder. Instagram underscore holder, because I'm going to pass in the Instagram username, and I'm going to pass in the WebDriver. So from here I'm going to say wd.get, and then it's going to be colon, or quotes, https ://www.instagram.com / plus Instagram holder plus quotes / and then from here I'm going to put a time.sleep of 5 seconds. That way the WebDriver has time to load all the data into that into the WebDriver. And say href underscore temp is equal to wd.find elements by XPath. And if you go here, so going back to Instagram, and again this is Kardashian, if you click on the following, see how it has a class of negative NA, I think that's an L3, but all these are in LIs. See how it's LI Y8-FY. So what we're looking for is the LI and then this class name right here. So if I copy the outer HTML, open up a notepad, paste it, this is the class that we are looking for. And again, Instagram, hopefully they will have some sort of way to generate this so people can hopefully it's dynamic every time, but for now it's static, so it's going to be anyways 2 / li open close bracket at class, because it's the class of y8-fy space of li. It's the attribute of li. So class, and that's going to be equal to 2 single quotes. Inside those 2 single quotes, I'm going to say, well, I just copy and pasted it, but it's also going to be capital Y8 dash, and then f, lowercase f, capital Y, and then a space. Again, this is going to change hopefully by the time this video is uploaded. If not, just go to this class and find this name, and you should be good to go. Replace that with the necessary thing. Then you're going to return hreftemp. So then when I go, yes, hreftemp. So then when I'm in my following right here, I'm going to first do a Instagram actions. I'm going to say get Instagram actions, pass in the Instagram holder as well as WD because I need my WebDriver. So this is going to get this list, see Li of posts, followers, following, so you can potentially you can scrape this data if you really do posts, but for me I'm just doing followers, following. And so once this is done, you're going to want to, under scraping a following, we want to create another function. I know you guys probably hate functions at this point, but I am big on object-oriented. My first language was C++. So you're going to put define get following information, and I love to name my functions after their actions. That way it and put actions as a parameter. I love naming my functions after what their intentions are, and then I also put WD because it just makes sense for me. So I'm going to pass in the actions from the hreftemp as well as WD. And actually up here, before I continue, I'm going to say href actions is equal to. So down here, get following information. First I'm going to create an array, so following of names. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to set it to an empty array. Then I'm going to say following is equal to actions of 2. Because if you go back here, it goes 0, 1, 2. So the WD, the WebDriver, can go, hey, I found 3 classes named y8-fy space. And so the first one, as you can tell, is 0. The second one is 1, and the third one is 2, because I'm storing them into an array and I'm returning them. So I want the third action of following to get the following information. So then from here, I'm going to say following dot click, and that is going to give us the information needed for this. And then I'm going to put a time.sleep of 20 seconds. And I'm going to say followers underscore temp is equal to WD dot page source, page underscore source. So say the reason I'm doing that, if I click on following, it doesn't give me this. But what I'm doing when I set this up, it's going to actually give me this, but inside an entire browser, so not just one scroll, infinite scroll. It's going to give me the entire list in a humongous web page like this. Anyways, so I have that set to followers temp, and now I'm going to say followers underscore data is equal to BeautifulSoup BS, because I have it passed in as BS right here, BS. So I'm going to say is equal to followers underscore data is equal to BS, and here I'm going to put my followers temp, the page source, comma, space, and then I'm going to say HTML parser, HTML.parser. This means it's going to take all the page source from BeautifulSoup and pass it in as HTML, because sometimes it could be in XML format, it could be in LXML format, it can be in whatever format that the people programmed the website to be in. So I want to say, hey, WD, I want this, but I want this in the HTML parser format. So I can use my necessary functions to get things going. So I'm going to say for I in followers, forgive me, it's not followers, it's following. Following data. And this is going to be following too. So in following oh, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm going to have one more called following underscore name. That's why. Is equal to following data dot find underscore all, and I want the attributes because they are stored. Click on following, right click, inspect. See, they are in A. They're in the HTML tag A with the class of this, and the title is, well, this person's name is Jesus here. So anyways, I want all the A's. So in following name, for I in following name, I want following names, the array that I created, dot append to be I dot get parenthesis title. This is going to take the title of A and append it to my array. So I'm getting all the names of all of the people that this person is following. Then I'm going to say clean following names is equal to, so in case there's some weird character which BeautifulSoup can't read or Python can't read, because that has happened quite a bit for me, web scraping, I'm going to say x for x in following names if x does not equal none. So it's going to clean all the names, and then I'm going to say return and clean following names. So I'm going to take this function, right, and I'm going to have it here. So I'm going to say get following information, pass it href actions as well as wd. And then to go back to the main menu, because when I go to my following information, it's going to take me to the following big page. I'm not going to be able to do anything about that. I'm not going to be able to go get the followers. I have to go back to this page again and then get the followers. But before I do this, I forgot that in order to access this, to get this information, I actually need to get inspector. This is going to allow me to access the inspector of the Chrome WebDriver so that I can do all the necessary functions needed. So I'm going to say, see here, under, see here, get instrument actions, I'll put it right here. So I'm going to say define get inspector. Again, call it what you'd like. I'm going to pass, I actually don't need to pass anything. So I'm going to say keyboard is equal to controller, and controller is the constructor that we called from pynput keyboard. So pynput keyboard. So I'm going to go down here and say keyboard is equal to controller, and say keyboard dot press inside parentheses key dot ctrl. So this is going to mimic a control key being pressed. Next is going to be keyboard dot press key dot shift, and then it's going to be keyboard dot press then I, because for Mozilla Firefox it's Q. See, inspect on that Q. For Chrome it's Control Shift I. So then I'm going to say keyboard dot release and say key dot control, because once you're done doing this we need to release all of our keys pressed. So key dot control, then I'm doing keyboard dot release key dot shift, and then the last one is going to be keyboard dot release, and then it's going to be I. And then I'm going to put a time.sleep here because I want, and I need to inspector. I have typing dyslexia. So I want to put a sleeping here, that way whenever this happens, there's time between this being pressed and then me going on to the next function. And so I'm just going to take this function right here, and inside of my inspector up here, I would say get inspector. That's all I need to do. I don't need to do anything else regarding that. So it's going to open up the inspector, the action is going to be retrieved, then I'm going to get all my, I'm going to set this equal to following, right? Following is equal to big following actions. Then I'm going to get my actions again, and then I'm going to do the followers. So after my actions function, after my inspector function, after my following, I'm going to have one last function. You guys probably sick of this, so I love my functions. So I'm going to say get followers information, and I'm going to pass it two things, actions and WD. So in our get followers information, I'm going to have it set up similar. So I'm going to say followers underscore names are equal to an empty array. Say followers is equal to actions, and instead of 2 it's going to be 1, because again 0, 1, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, so we're trying to get the 2, or the second, which is the first, because Python starts at 0. Then I'm going to say followers.click. Once this is done, I'm going to put a time.sleep so it can load the page without having any problems. Then I'm going to put followers underscore temp is equal to wd.data wd.page underscore source. So again, we want to get the source, and then we're going to say followers data is equal to the BeautifulSoup BS. I'm going to say followers temp, comma space, then in quotes HTML.parser, because I want to parse this as an HTML in the HTML format. Then I'm going to do followers underscore name is equal to followers underscore data dot find all A, because again I want all the attributes of A. I want all of the A's because that's where the names are stored. So inside A, I want to say for I and followers name, and then we say followers names dot append, and say I dot get, and then title, because again, click on followers, open the inspector, we have the A attribute here, and then the title is what we're trying to get, so we're collecting all of the titles. So I have all the titles here. Then at the very end, I want to clean followers names is equal to x for x in following underscore names if x is not equal to none. Just so you know, I found this code online because I was having issues with the BeautifulSoup. Yeah, followers names. So I forget where I found it. Stack Overflow. If I find this, I'll put it in the description below. If not, please know that this isn't my code. So I'm going to return clean followers underscore names. I try and attribute people who create the code so they get the rightful ownership. Anyways, so now that I have this function completed, I'm going to go up here to my scraping of followers, and I'm going to say followers is equal to get followers information, pass in the href actions, comma space wd. Did I pass in the get followers information actions wd? Yeah. Okay, just want to make sure. So then once this is done, what we can do is actually you can point to a CSV file. I'm just going to say print following. You can do what you want with this. I just wanted to show you that it is capable of actually picking up the information. How you want to use this data is, again, up to you. So, print followers, followers, following, following. So we should now be able to have a complete working project regarding the Instagram web scraper. So if we first, yes, so one side fact that I'd like to mention, by default, when you first run the program, it's going to create this folder multiple times. I haven't been able to fix this yet, but what you want to do, if you ever run this program more than once, just press delete. Just delete your old folders and then rerun the program. So I'm going to say python insta scrappy.py. So now it's going to load, and then it's going to ask me for my Instagram account, and I'm going to black this out so you don't see it. And you can reduce the duration if you want, but I actually like to have these sleeps in here. So I'm going to say Instagram accounts. So then I'm going to type in Elon R. Musk. Yeah, so I misspoke. They changed the they changed it because it used to be something else. Space LH361, that's why. So, as you can see, it didn't work because the classes are different. So on Firefox, it was, Y8-FY, but on here, see, it's __ LH361, which is why it didn't pick up on the followers or following. And actually, I had this in my original code. So what we want to do, if you're using the Chrome, just copy, go here, copy outer HTML, and all you want is the LH space, all you want is this right here, space LH36I, and then in here, if you go into where it says the Y8F, just change this right here to the LH36I, and that will fix it. Again, I was using Firefox, so Firefox, they do have a dynamic based upon the browser. So it's Firefox is Y8, for Instagram it's LH36I. Regardless, it works. One thing I forgot to mention is for this, make sure that you have the Chrome driver clicked on. So when this is running, if you make sure that you click on this, otherwise this inspector, well, they'll input Control-Shift-I. So if I'm playing a video game while this is going and the script runs into this code segment right here, whatever game you're playing, if Control-Shift-I is something, it's going to mimic that function in the game. So be sure to use this code right here and have this clicked on. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. I know it's a bit long of a video. It's my first video too, so please be kind. Constructively criticism. Constructive criticism is always welcome, but please be sure to yeah, let me know what you'd like to see or not like to see. I'm trying to make more programming videos so that I can help myself understand how things are going. So yep, anyways, thank you all for watching. Have a great day, night, evening, and see you in the next video.